Alright, on today's video we're putting together the Rider DLX, and I'm going to go ahead and first get this box broken down. That way we can get to the smoker and also not have to try to pull it out of this box. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get this foam piece moved back just enough so that I can put the controller on. And to attach it, I'm going to use 3 of the C screws. 2 on the left side, 1 on the right. Alright, after that I'm going to go ahead and open up our chamber and get everything out of here. If that doesn't show you how big the Rider DLX chamber is, I don't know what will. They put everything to put this thing together in the chamber. Okay, now that I've got all the parts broken down and out of their box, I'm going to go ahead and put part number 26, the wheels, to part number 23, the legs. And I just use a crescent wrench to tighten those on. And I'm going to go ahead and break down the other side of this box here. That way we can get this thing lifted up. Okay, we went ahead and got this ready to get our legs in now. So I'm using a socket set now, and I'm using the 13mm socket. And I'm going to go ahead and get these legs on here, and we're going to be putting them on using 4 of the B bolts. Now, in this video, I go ahead and I tighten these bolts tight. And I'm going to go ahead and say do not do that. Just put them on finger tight. Don't tighten them up yet. Just finger tight. And you'll see why here in just a little bit. So your wheels, your little casters with the locks on them, they go on the bottom side. Then your other legs will go on the top side. Again, do not tighten your bolts up yet. Do not tighten your bolts. I told myself this when I did it, and then I went ahead and I tightened them up anyways. Alright, then go ahead and you're going to get your wheel, part number 25, and then you're going to get a G, the part G and part F, 2 of each. And you'll put that pin right in, keeps the wheels from falling off. And then you're going to get your shelf. Go ahead and slide your shelf down there. And with the shelf, you are going to be using the part A, 4 of them, and part E, 4 of them. So the bolt and the nut. And then you're going to go ahead and slide these through. And then you can just get those finger tight for right now. Alright, now you're starting to see me fight with this thing, and I cannot get the holes to line up. And this is exactly why I said do not tighten those other bolts yet, because those legs need to be able to move around to get these lined up. So now I'm going to go ahead and untighten the bolts. Hopefully you listen to me and you're not having to do this. But untighten the bolts, and then you can get it all lined up, and then get everything tightened back up. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get the shelf tightened on now. I'm using a 7mm socket and a 7/16 wrench. Go ahead and get all four tightened up. And then once this is tightened up, we can go ahead and get this bad boy lifted up. But first, before you lift it, you're going to lock your casters, that way it doesn't roll away from you. This is very important. You do not want it to take off rolling when you lift this thing. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get the bracket on that holds our pellet bucket, and we're going to use the C screw, and it's going to be 4 of them. Alright, it's going to be 2 on the front and 2 on the back. I did not video the back side, but I did put all 4 of them on. Alright, let's go ahead and get our ash cup placed on. You just slide it up there and it screws right on. Now I've learned not to screw this thing on too tight, because then once it gets hot, it's kind of hard to get these things loose again. So just a little tight will work. Then we're going to put our shelf on, and our shelf is going to use the C2 or 2 of the C screws also, and the washers, the D washers. And go ahead and just get those tight. Okay, then you're going to do the same thing to the front shelf using 2 of the C screws and 2 of the D washers. Go ahead and get those tightened up. Alright, now these hangers, they are supposed to go on the front bar. However, I like all of my utensils not hanging down where my legs are so that my pants don't get dirty. So I put them off to the right on that far right shelf. Now we're going to go ahead and get our stacks put in. Now these stacks go in from the bottom, not the top. The top will not work. You have to go from the bottom up, and then you're going to use the C screws again, and it's 3 on each stack with the E bolt. I'm sorry, the E nut. Lids on our stack, and they just screw on. Now I'll go ahead and I tighten them all the way down. You don't have to do this, but I do know that I'm going to end up adjusting them as soon as I start dialing in my smoker. So I've got mine all the way down. I will raise them prior to starting up the smoker. Alright, then we're going to go ahead and get the zip ties off of here and make sure that this thing moves back and forth freely. It's not binding up in any way. Then I'm going to go ahead and get this plate down. This is part number 55. Get that down there. It just sits down there. It doesn't screw in or anything. Then we're going to go ahead and get our deflector plate in. Got to make sure the words are facing the right way. Alright, and then we're going to start setting in our shelves. You're going to do your two outside ones first, and then you will drop in your center. You're going to want to get that off of there. You can't cook with that on. Look how big that chamber is. It is so big. Alright, then I go ahead and put the shelves on. There's two of them. Here comes the second. I apologize, it's hard to video and put stuff together at the same time. Alright, now after all that is in, I'm going to go ahead and get this front bar on, and I'm going to use 4 of the C-screws to get this put on. And I go ahead and I get them on finger tight first, and then I tighten them up. You don't want them to be tight, otherwise you may not be able to get one of those screws in. So keep them kind of loose, then get your screwdriver and get it all tightened up. Alright, so for this next step, it is very important to have a helper to go ahead and get these drip pans on. You don't really need a helper to lift the smoker up, but you do need a helper to get the drip pans on and your pellet bucket on. And this little dude helped me out big time. In fact, he went ahead and got my first tool, which is the part that gets the center grate off, put on for me. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and get the sear and smoke handle put on. And we are going to use, it's part number 40 for the handle, and we're going to use 2 of the C-screws. Again, finger tight, and then I tighten them up. And you got to test it out, of course. It moves back and forth, and it does. And there it is. It is all put together. All we got to do is get the stickers off, one inside the chamber, one on top of the chamber, one on the hopper, and then I go ahead and I wipe it all down, get it cleaned up, and then I will start getting it ready for a burn-in. And I will be making a video here shortly on the burn-in and get that posted for you. If you like this video, go ahead and hit like and subscribe and get to smoking.